Hey, what's going on, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers? This is your boy Porter Rock 77 coming back at you with a hot take. This is a recorded video. Normally, I do live streams, style conversations, but I wanted to make this a quick point. Get it right from the get-go. In live streams, you have to get the chat going and get people flowing, and then it takes a while. And something that I could probably do in under 10 minutes takes like an hour. So I just want to get straight to it, all right? But before we move on, just make sure if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and everybody else, if you give a like, it helps out the channel, helps trend, and get the information out. So this past week, Phil Spencer, they had the little podcast to talk about Bethesda and all that stuff. And ultimately, he made statements pertaining to the future of Bethesda. So the first point I wanted to make, from my opinion, his words, and I said this before, future Bethesda games will be exclusive to platforms that support Game Pass. Some people are trying to take some of his phrases like, oh, he said the word legacy. That means Fallout's a legacy game. That means all Fallout games will still be on PlayStation. I think you guys are trying to overthink it and not go back to the simple reality that I think if you're a PlayStation gamer, you fully understand. You need exclusives, whether it's a service, whether it's hardware, whether it's platform, whether it's a burger joint. You need something unique to get people to come to your workplace, business, or platform. And we always said this. We always said Xbox needs exclusives, and we always said that Game Pass needs exclusives if that platform really wants to be successful. Just simply being an alternate way of selling multiplats that you could get somewhere else is not going to cut it. I mean, look at this trouble Stadia has. It's literally a platform whose strength is only you could play games on any device. But what games? It's the same games we already own. So I said that this deal, it has the intention of games being exclusive to Game Pass, and that's what they're going to do. So what do they mean by legacy? It's simple. The things that's already on PlayStation and things that already are contracted to go to PlayStation, he said he's going to fulfill those obligations. He's probably doesn't want to get into the whole legal battle and all that weird stuff. Whatever happens, whatever falls through, falls through. Legacy games, take for example Elder Scrolls Online, right? That is a legacy game that is still relevant today, and that game will still get future content. That game will still support it. It's very successful, and it's going to be here for a long while. It'll probably be here for the entire current gen, going all the way up to 2027. Well, guess what? Any new content for Elder Scrolls Online will still be on PlayStation platforms. Fallout 76 will still be on PlayStation platforms. Any updates to Fallout 4, PlayStation will still get all those updates, right? And then anything that's contractually obligated, like Deathloop, Doom VR, and all that stuff. And then maybe Starfield maybe still be relevant, whatever. Anything that's contractually obligated and everything that's already on PlayStation, they're still going to support in any future plans for those products. But anything new, like a brand new Elder Scrolls, a brand new Fallout, like Fallout 5, a brand new Doom, a brand new Wolfenstein, those games will be exclusive to platforms that support Game Pass. Of course, people say, well, look at Fallout 4. It's like over 50% sales on PlayStation. And yes, it sold very well on PlayStation. But again, the fundamental idea of this is to support Game Pass. Game Pass needs exclusives. We say it all the time. Xbox needs exclusives. Microsoft needs exclusives. Game Pass needs exclusives. Exclusive. It needs games that you can't get anywhere else, whatever, right? And when Microsoft makes a big move and finally does it, now everybody's trying to pretend that statement is not relevant. No, they bought that company, right? They bought that publisher to get big exclusive content on their platform, right? And it's in the absence of stuff that they can't provide themselves yet. So Bethesda's a good answer to a major problem. And hopefully the other studios will build up their library, whatever. But fundamentally, it's a simple concept, And what's interesting about the conversation, I've been saying exclusives matter for years. It's the Xbox community that's been fighting it off. But now all of a sudden, they fully understand. This is why on Twitter, it's really hard to have conversations of gaming with Xbox gamers. They want it, they'll stop the toxicity, have serious conversation, whatever. But you guys got to set the example. You guys got to lead. You guys got to stop changing your opinions and your attitudes and your minds just simply to appease a company. Because you got to pick a line. Like, for example, exclusives matter. I said that before the Bethesda deal, and I'm saying it now. So notice how my ideal stays consistent and true. You guys are the wishy-washy ones. You choose back and forth. And some of the PlayStation guys, you're becoming a bit of wishy-washy too. If you're hyping that exclusives matter and that's what sells platforms, then you should fundamentally understand why Microsoft is going to keep Bethesda exclusives to Game Pass, especially when that's what they're trying to sell you. That's what they're trying to sell consumers. They're trying to sell consumers to subscribe to Game Pass. Well, Game Pass needs exclusives, needs a lot of exclusives. Can't just be these onesies, twosies, and these little passion projects. That's not going to cut it. It needs big exclusives. And Bethesda fills a huge portfolio of big exclusives. And considering that the Game Pass service is only $15 a month, it's going to make even a game like Prey appealing and stuff, right? That's the fundamental idea, right? So, got to understand that. Microsoft is applying, Xbox division, Microsoft is applying a logic that we've been saying for years. Gotta have exclusives. Exclusives matter. Exclusives what gets you to the ecosystem. Well, guess what? Microsoft's doing that. Not a hard concept, right? Now, of course, you could say, but what about all the money they're leaving behind PlayStation? Well, PlayStation, that could apply to PlayStation as well. I mean, if you put Spider-Man on Xbox, right? And on PC, would that game not sell blockbusters? Would that game not be off the charts if they were also available on those platforms too? So how much money is Sony leaving on the table specifically to Spider-Man? Interesting, right? So why is Sony leaving money off the table? It's because something's more important about Spider-Man than simply the sale of Spider-Man itself. It's how many people Spider-Man could get onto the PlayStation platform, right? Which is the PS4 at the time and now the PS5. And once they're on those consoles, how much more content they buy when they already own the hardware. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of getting people into that platform. Right? So that's the first point. So, as I said before, if you want Bethesda games, you're a big fan of Bethesda, like I am, some of the games. Like, I love Fallout and other Scrolls series. I don't really like Doom. Wolfenstein's pretty good. Any game where you could kill Nazis is a great game, right? When you could kill and utterly destroy Nazis, it's a great game, right? Doom, not so much. I mean, it's all right. I'm not into the arena. Shoot, I beat one recently. I beat Doom Eternal recently. But I love Fallout. You could check my PSN profile. In fact, I probably play more Bethesda games than at least 50% of the people on Xbox who are hyping Bethesda now. Some of them barely played any of them. And you can look at my PSN profile. I beat Oblivion, the DLC packs, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, put in tons of hours in Elder Scrolls Online. And then, of course, I play like Wolfenstein and Doom and all that stuff. So I like Bethesda games, yes. As far as quality or whatever, of course, the argument shouldn't even be compared to Naughty Dog or anything like that. I enjoyed the Bethesda games, right? But this decision did not impact me because personally, I said that this generation, my secondary platform that I will lean towards will be the PC, right? PC to me has become very attractive for me than ever before with the PC VR, barring availability now. So you have to wait a couple of months, whatever. But PC technically, officially at retail pricing went cheaper. It's just all the stockage and overinflated prices stuff. But overall, PC is becoming very, very attractive, right? Especially with the new technology of ray tracing, or, you could get games over 100 FPS. There's just a lot of exciting things about PC that's happening now. Among the exclusives, and I think I already said it, is virtual reality. That's what's really me attracting with PSVR because I mean, with PC VR, because I love PSVR. And for what I told, PC VR is on a whole nother level. So that's what's really attracting me. And then, of course, I got this channel with content creation. A better PC will do justice on the things I want to do. So overall, PC has been attractive for me as a platform this gen. And as a secondary platform, I'm not going to miss out on anything, right? Other than maybe Nintendo. And we'll see how they handle their next iteration of Switch. But that's a different conversation itself, all right? So what's the real point? My next point is number 2. And I think this is the PlayStation-centric point, is the response, right? I've seen tweets of Sony needs to respond. What is Sony going to do? Sony needs to buy this. Sony needs to buy that. Man, like some people just love to repeat history. Did we not go over this last year? Like around this time last year, March, February, Microsoft or Xbox will make an announcement. They will do something and everybody immediately expect Sony to respond, and Sony doesn't respond. And now everybody put all this negative connotations on PlayStation. Say, oh, no confidence, the console's not ready. Remember, this was around last year. We were hearing all the things. We were hearing that behind the scenes, these multi-plats are not running well, and Xbox Series X is blowing it out the water. Behind the scenes, they're having trouble cooling the thing. They're having trouble manufacturing it, so don't expect a lot. Behind the scenes, you're probably not going to see a lot of PlayStations. They're probably not going to push out the numbers because of manufacturing, stuff like that. Behind the scenes, because of the cooling, the console might be $600. Behind the scenes, behind the scenes, behind the scenes. They only show logo. Why ain't they showing a PlayStation? How come they're not, YouTubers can't access it? How come has anyone actually seen a real PlayStation? Hey, this console's not coming out to 2022. Remember all that? Remember all that trash? And the downplay? And the nonsense? And the behind the scenes? PlayStation having trouble running games is running at 1080p and can't even run at 60 frames. Remember all that BS? That last year in 2020, from like January, February, March, April, May, we were just hearing consistent BS, consistent BS, consistent BS. And Sony just stood the course. They just stood quiet, right? Because ultimately, right, they're formulating a plan and they're sticking with that plan. And they're going to release the product and release info when it's ready, you know? And that approach has proven already to be superior and a better approach than what Microsoft has done or Xbox has done with the Xbox. Xbox has talked too much this damn gen and delivered nothing, right? They delivered nothing, right? They talk so much about power, RDNA, and here we are. The platform that didn't talk about power, the platform that didn't talk about advancements and 50% and 50 frames of manage and all this nonsense. They just slowly trickled out information. They showed the games. They launched a console and boom, you know. In fact, all that trash talking actually made it better for PlayStation fans, because the PlayStation fans who still stuck and bought the PS5 because of all the constant trash talking, they didn't expect for PlayStation to do the things it did because there was just too much trash talking behind it. So some people just say it doesn't matter as long as I get to play the games, as long as I get to play Spider-Man, okay, God of War, that's good enough for me. But then now that we own the console and we've seen the head-to-heads, it's actually delivered more than what we expected. Many of the multiplats run better on PlayStation. The ray tracing superb. Remember, PlayStation only does software ray tracing and all that nonsense. It's done a phenomenal job, right? So with that mindset, just let Sony keep going with what they're doing, right? Right now, we know a couple of games that's coming out from now to June and stuff, right? Maybe out to August. You know, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Returnal. We got Ratchet and Clank in June, right? So there's a lot of content that's coming down the road and it's building our portfolio. And hopefully before June or June time frame, we'll know what the second half of this year will bring. That means from July all the way out to December. And then just let Sony play it out. But if you notice, they haven't done a lot of talking or a lot of presumptions. They haven't presented information was presumptuous. Oh, it's gonna. No, they show what you're gonna get. They show the games and they show how it's look and they just present it, you know. And I prefer that approach, right? I don't prefer an approach where you make up some theoretical scenario philosophy and then expect me to believe that's what I'm gonna get X in some time in the future. That doesn't do anything for me. I prefer just to see the games, show me the technology, show me exactly what the console's doing, and that's what Sony's approach. So as far as this Bethesda, Sony doesn't have to clap back and be like, oh, we bought Square Enix. Oh, we bought Capcom. I think just let the games and Sony announced games over time do the talking itself, right? I don't think there needs to be anything, right? At the end of the day, once they show the content and what's coming to the content exclusively, that's all that really matters, you know, at the end of the day. And that's how I see it. So do I think Sony needs to respond? No. What I think Sony is just stay the course. Just do what you do, right? I hope they have a plan in 2021 just to release more information and show more games, right? Have more trailers and speak on those stuff. And then just show it to us in whatever venue or whatever format. I would prefer a format that's a little bit more bigger than State of Play. I think State of Play is fine for what it is because it's just a little, you know, 15-minute, 20-minute video thing that you just watch on YouTube, whatever. But I do hope that they have some type of event, you know, maybe it doesn't have to be E3 or anything like that, but some type of event where they show the big blockbusters, you know. Kind of like what they did in, if I remember correctly, in 2016. Remember that E3? They showed Spider-Man, they showed God of War. You know, something similar. An event where they showed the big AAA titles and stuff and what's coming. So that way we know what's coming down the line on the PlayStation 5 platform and stuff. So I think that's just where they need to go. They don't need to get anything crazy, all right? Now, if the conversation is who should Sony buy, there's just a lot of kinetic ideas to that. Number one, I could understand the fundamental idea of Sony should buy Square Enix to make sure Microsoft doesn't buy Square Enix. Okay, I get that. I could get that point. You know, buying certain companies to prevent Microsoft from buying them, which will ultimately mean those games will no longer on the PlayStation platform. So like Capcom, Square Enix. Okay, I could see that logic. And that's up to Sony to decide if there is a threat of any of these companies being bought out by Microsoft, which could potentially mean those games will not be on the PlayStation platform, and Microsoft will continue to bolster their Game Pass library. That is a reasonable logic, right? For me personally, I don't think that's so much of a threat. It's a possibility, but let's assume that's not going to happen, and Microsoft has no intention of buying Square Enix, Capcom, whatever. I would prefer Sony to go after companies or smaller developers that have IPs or content that they're not really fully utilizing or fleshing out that could be really big and popular. Like I mentioned Konami as one company I would like Sony to buy if they're willing to invest in the IPs that Konami owns. Castlevania is a very big and popular IP. It's just they haven't done anything with it. Silent Hill, I'm so sick of the Silent Hill rumors. We've been at this, 2 years or so? So clearly people want Silent Hill, so commit and own it, right? Metal Gear Solid. That Solid Snake is an icon. And, you know, with Kojima's departure from Konami, that's it. It's over. One of the iconic characters in gaming is gone, you know? If Sony could bring in the reins and take that over, you know? And I think Kojima it will be willing to make a new Metal Gear. If Sony owns it, you know, and they run it, right? Because they have a great relationship. So that will be something. Contra. You know, Contra fundamentally would be a great shooter, you know, because fundamentally it's you know, it's a shooter against aliens and stuff like that. But instead of just being the traditional 2D indie or whatever, make it a big blockbuster AAA and give it a storyline, you know? And it kind of definitely potential, you know, the name associated to that, you know? Things like that, that's what I would like to see. I would like to see Sony, you know, bring IPs back to life. Vice buying a company that already is providing games that we already own. Like if Sony buys Square Enix, you're not going to see any change other than just knowing Microsoft ain't buying it. But as far as the content, there is no change. You're getting Final Fantasy. You're getting Final Fantasy products. You're getting Square Enix products. Square Enix is making games for PlayStation. You will see no significant change. You will not notice. Hell, most people won't even notice that Sony bought Square Enix. Because you'll see nothing different. But buying Konami, you'll see a difference. You know, Sony buys Konami, then in 3 years, 4 years, or let's say in 2 years, you'll see a trailer to a brand new AAA Castlevania. That's significant, you know. You'll see a trailer to a brand new AAA Metal Gear Solid game. That is significant. That is something you gain and notice. You won't notice anything from Square Enix because they support the platform anyway, you know? So that's just my thought. Anyway, that's just my thought real quick. That's a quick hot take. This is your boy Porter Rock 77. I hope you enjoyed this little conversation. Please give me some comments on what you think about this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoyed it and you stick around. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, check out my podcast, 60 Frames No Like Podcast. And I think you will definitely enjoy it where we expand on these topics and I have a great crew to talk games about. So I hope you enjoy it, right? But until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. This is your boy Porter Rock 77, your only friend in these YouTube streets. And I'm out of here. Peace.